Hi, gardening friends, and thank you for tuning in this week. This is Travis from Louisville, Kentucky, Zone 6B. Come join me on a walk through my yard. This is part 2 of my May garden tour. This is our blue bottle path. I was inspired by Lark from larksperrennials.com. And this is where I've got so far. It's hard to find these blue bottles, for me anyway. Alright, in the last video I told you I had lupine under the grow lights. Those got planted today. So quite a few of them in this little curve. Moonflower vine got planted here, and I'm gonna let it grow on this, but boy does it take over. So this year I'm gonna keep it under control, and it is an aggressive, strong vine, but it's very beautiful, and it gets saucer size white blooms. It blooms in the evening, and it's fragrant. If you'll look back on last summer's video, you'll see it on the arbor we had in the front. Irises are still going. Still have quite a few blooms on them. Got some white ones. The white ones are always the first to go for some reason. Hopefully you guys can hear me. It's been very windy here lately. We actually had a big limb fall on our house the other night, so we had to get that taken care of. It actually went through the roof, so we got that patched up. Winds have been crazy. They've been keeping me busy here, picking up all the limbs. Not to mention somebody ran into our mailbox the other night too. So it's one thing after another. And as you can see, of course, I don't know why, but every time I start my video, a neighbor has to start mowing. So again, I apologize. That big pile there, we've gone through 2 trucks that my husband's dad give to us, and it's a long story, but anyway, they were junk. So they broke down, so that is why that pile of debris there is still sitting there. But anyway, back to the tour. Let's see, miscanthus, I think this is Dixieland grass. My birthday is in a few days, so I've been given a little bit of birthday money here recently, so I was able to purchase some new plants, and I will show you guys those. We've got phlox in here. This is one of the new plants I picked up this week. It is a tall primrose, yellow, bright yellow. And then of course next with the phlox. The dark purple irises. They smell like grapefruit. Baptisia. It's gotten tall the past week. Let's see, we got it's a white daisy. What is that called? Oh, I'll think about it eventually, but that's how like a white daisy flower. Gladius is coming up. Of course, a cat has been in here. They like to play in the flower beds and have knocked this guy over. Burgundy iris. I'll be moving these because I do not like the, however they're both beautiful, but I just don't like the burgundy next to the purple. So the purple will stay, and the white and the maroon are gonna be transplanted. I might plant the white back there around the arbor, maybe just kind of brighten it up in the spring. Okay, new plant, another new plant. Milkweed. Finally got milkweed. I had to go to Nelson County to MVP Nursery Garden Center out on New Haven Road. By far one of the best in the area. They have the biggest selection of perennials, flowers, shrubs, trees, stuff that a lot of people don't have or you can't find. So I definitely recommend them. I know I said this in the plant haul video. They are MVP Nursery Garden Center on New Haven Road. Got quite a few plants from them. Spiderwort is beginning to set flower. Had a few flowers on it this morning, and everybody knows if you have this plant that the spiderwort, it blooms early in the day, and then as it gets closer to the afternoon, it closes up. But boy, is it a beauty when all of the blue flowers come out. Definitely one of my favorites. And these are sentimental because I got these from my grandma, so yeah. Spiderwort. But I'll show you in another video when it's in full bloom. Dianthus. I think this one's called Peaches and Cream. I've been working on this border here with the weeds. Planted some primrose and seeded some alyssum. I don't know if you guys remember, but the lamb's ear here, it was like triple this amount. So I divided that, and I'll show you later in this video, or maybe even in part 3, depending on how long it goes. But I'll show you where I put that. Peony. I don't know if this guy's going to bloom, but I think it's a yellow one. I'm pretty sure. Peony or peony. There's that flower there. It is a perennial, and I know it's got a clustery blue flowers on it. Kind of reminds you of a phlox, but the garden center that I got it from, they pulled the tag off of it for so I could buy it or whatever, and they didn't stick the tag back in there, so I completely forgot the name of it. And it's like I said, it's a new plant and something that I've never seen before in your typical garden center. We got some lilies coming up, tiger lilies. And of course these guys are the good old day lilies, but they'll be blooming later in the season. Creeping buttercup. Man, was this taken over in here. And as you can see here, it's taken over this, which I believe is my spiderwort. It's either spiderwort or a lily, but anyway, that'll have to be fixed. Primrose. Pretty light pink, tons of blooms. It blooms every year, comes back every year, and it takes over and fills in. So just be aware of that. If you do plant primrose, it is a good bang for your buck. Don't get me wrong, but it will take over. But I don't mind that, because if something takes over and it's too much, I just move it. I move it to another flower bed. And actually, speaking on the same topic of primrose, sorry, it blooms twice. So it'll bloom early in the season and then later in the season. And once you have it, all you need is one plant of it, and you'll have it forever. Sedum, more phlox and black-eyed Susans. And this is that other lamb's ear, the one that blooms. The big ears does not bloom. Blue strife. And more daylilies. So we've made a full circle around this garden bed here. We've been adding on to this garden bed. I divided the lilies that were just crowding out everything over here. I have aster in here, so that'll bloom in the fall. I could probably even divide it up more if I wanted to, but this is where I put the ones that I did dig up. So adding on to this flower bed here, there's Miss Raven. Let's see, what do we got in here? Black-eyed Susans. Looks like we got a phlox. Veronica. And yes, the foxglove. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but it is about to pop. This is a white foxglove. We have a coral rose back here that's getting ready to bloom. Really pretty against white. The fence. More primrose. So yeah, guys, I have primrose everywhere. I started out with 2 plants, 2 clumps of it, and we've been here 3 years, and I've got it everywhere. So if you want something that's showy and takes over, get primrose. The sun's gone in a little bit, it makes everything look a little better. That is a phlox there. Look how tall the hollyhocks have gotten. Now these were planted last year from the seeds I started, and I am hoping, surely to God, I'm going to get some blooms out of these this year. There's Edgar. Okay, gotta keep moving. Black-eyed Susans. This big old clump here needs to be divided, but that's a later summer bloomer. Phlox. And a big old hollyhock. Bleeding Heart is done, and it will be dying down soon. There's these old maple trees. I have them everywhere because the little helicopter seeds blow everywhere. Ajuga ground cover is done blooming. I think this is a hydrangea, and I know that is. Just kind of repeat of the same thing. Coreopsis. I forget the name of the variety, but... And this is part sun. So isn't that nice? That bright pop of color in part sun. Columbine. So another project, and hopefully we have time for it this year and get it done, is I plan on repainting our garage and little side shed here. I'm thinking about going with a charcoal color. I always thought your flowers and your greenery foliage look really good when it pops off something dark. More hollyhocks there. Spruce, boy is it getting bigger. I love it. Had a ton of growth on it this spring. Blue spruce. Planted around it is the purple that you're seeing is the alliums. Globemaster, I believe. Maybe not. I think Globemaster is bigger than that. But it's still pretty. And I had forgot that I planted white ones in here too. White Astilbe about to bloom. Another shade perennial. Astilbe. And a little pop of Coreopsis. That variegated Ajuga. And daylilies around. This is supposed to be a circle, by the way. It's kind of lost its shape. I've been waiting for these to bloom. These are the Siberian purple irises. They are so pretty when the wind's blowing. Forever and Ever Rose, pink. About to bloom. And some more tiger lilies. Did you kill a bird? In the front side yard, we've got feathers everywhere. So I don't know if it was Edgar that killed the bird or Raven. I would say probably Raven because my little Poe is more tender-hearted, ain't he? Yep. Siberian iris. Thank you, Chris. My neighbor Chris gave these to me. Hostas, and yes, I have got to get in here and weed. I think the big bluish colored ones are Blue Angel. And I forget the name of the lighter ones. You cannot go wrong with hostas. They come in many different colors and shades and variegations. Solomon seal, variegated Solomon seal. think that is so pretty. Done blooming. It does get a white flower. A spreader. So it multiplies and spreads by the tubers underground. And then the creeping buttercup, which is actually more of a woodsy shade plant. So this is probably a good spot for it. I've been working on this area, this little pathway area that goes around the pergola. New plants. And boy was I excited to find these. These were at MVP Nursery, again, on New Haven Road, Brunnera. Look at the foliage. Gorgeous. And look at the flower. So pretty. One of my favorite shade plants. And I've heard about it for a year or two now, but could not find it anywhere. I'll definitely be getting more. So this is what I've been working on lately. The Liripy, and more Solomon Seal, and a Stilby. And Pope. A Stilby. This one is a red one, or fuchsia color. There's that columbine. Those were given to me from my grandma as well. I remember a little boy or a kid growing up at grandma's. These little seed heads always stood out to me. They'll turn brown, and then these little things are full of little black seeds. I used to go through and spread them everywhere. Some more new plants. This is Coreopsis or Heuchera. This one's called Purple Prince. So I hope it gets a little more purple or maroony than that. I put another one here. And that little variegated thing, I just already had that, so I stuck that one there, and I moved that one there. I also had this hosta, pretty, variegated, green, blue, and lime. I also had that, so I just stuck it in between these guys. You guys are probably wondering why I've got this rope laying out. Well, this is what I've been using to kind of vision and lay out my garden beds. So I plan on extending this, and it's going to come out here, and I want some kind of focal point here. I don't know if it's going to be, I would like to have some kind of statue or something, but anyway, in time. So don't look at the mess here, but when you're coming around through here, you'll be focused on that used to have a metal shed here, and it was kind of falling apart a little bit, so we went ahead and pulled it down. So we just use this as a little patio right now. And more hostas. See how that brightens up the shade? And it looks really good with the tree. And you can plant these if you have a spot you want some color or plants, and it's hard to plant under a tree with the roots. The hostas don't mind it. Just scrape up what you can and throw them down, and they'll go. They're not fussy. Probably wondering, can you guys hear that breeze? Anyway, probably wondering why I have such a big gap between the dark green and the variegated, is I plan to buy some Blue Angel hostas, and I want the Blue Angels in here. Also inspired by Lark in her shade garden, or her hosta area. Just the streams or the rows of the different varieties. It's very pretty. Definitely check out her. She's one of my favorite garden ladies on YouTube. And I hope she's still doing her tours this year. Lark's Perennials on YouTube. A work in progress. This little area here. I believe the previous owners, sorry, there's my shadow, had a pool here at one time. So anyway, they planted, this was all like some shrubs and I don't know, not good ones. I couldn't even tell you what they are. Here it is. These. So this is what they had, and you can't see them now because I've cut them all the way down to the ground. Well, most of them. But this was a big circle of those when we first moved in. And it was the first thing to go back here. So we've got our little sitting area, patio thing with the fire pit. This is my next project to work on, getting the weeds and all these violets out of here. But I want this to be a butterfly garden. The only problem is this side gets at least 6 hours of sun earlier in the day, and this side gets shade. So it's been hard to kind of balance that out, but we'll figure it out. Let's walk the inside. Salvia, purple salvia, lilies there, and gladius. Here's more of that Dixieland, miscanthus grass. That ugly shrub I was just talking about. Who does that? I don't know. More grass. A rose that I had transplanted Boy, I picked a good time to do this video. I'm sorry guys, this probably sucks. All the noise, background noise. That's how it is when you live in the city. We do plan on, our 5-year goal is to sell this and move back to the country. There's the salvia I was talking about. Purple salvia. Budding. There it is, blooming a little bit. Purple salvia. Here is another, really, bull in a china shop. Here's another spiderwort. This is a chartreuse one, very pretty. And I guess since this one is in part shade, it's still got its blooms on it. Edgar. Hey. That's my blue bottle art, garden art. But yeah, spiderwort. I've planted butterfly weed seedlings in here, and they've made it through the frost, thank God. Hopefully we are done with the frost this year. So yeah, butterfly weed, which will be orange. Joe Pye weed. Tall, perennial. Gets a purpley-ish flower on top, and it got pretty tall. I'm gonna say at least 5 feet, 6 feet. Under the red strainer there is a Mexican sunflower. Some sage that I transplanted, which by the way is still in bloom in the potager garden. Gorgeous blooms on the sage.